We're about to go live on Wednesdays with Willa, and you can see I've got my special guest here today is Celeste, Elliott. So, hi.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Love Talk Radio.
Welcome to Lilydale Radio, featuring topics about spiritualism, mediumship, healing, spirituality, and the Lilydale Assembly, the world's largest center for the religion, philosophy, and science of spiritualism. This is Lilydale Radio.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesdays with Willa, and this is a Lilydale Blog Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Willa White. I'm a registered medium here in Lilydale, and I have my special guest here today, Celeste Elliott, and she's a Lilydale registered medium and host of another Lilydale radio show, Celestial Fridays. Welcome to the show, Celeste.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
It's a long commute one street over.
I know. We can probably wave to each other's
If
houses.
I stand on my porch,
back.
I'm probably out of your kitchen window. We could wave to
Exactly.
each other.
we could put up a can system with the string and communicate that way if necessary.
We could. In which case, maybe we should do it to my bedroom window, because otherwise the cars would get caught.
The kids would love to do this.
That would
My
be hilarious.
children would love to do this.
That would be great. We should do it this winter. We'll just block off the street and go sledding and put up can systems. It'll work.
That's right. We like to have fun.
Yes, absolutely.
So our topic today is young mediums. We're going to talk about what it's like to be professional mediums while being young, because we have the distinction of being the youngest mediums here in Lilydale.
Currently, we're waiting. We're
Yeah,
waiting
we're waiting
for somebody
for
to
more
come
people.
and take the crown.
Come on board.
Yeah.
Get some of the younger crowd here. Although we love all the folks here. They're great.
Yeah. It's us and Breck Salins, who
Yes.
I know you said you're going to have
Eventually,
coming up.
eventually,
Yeah, and hopefully, and we're trying not to do too much crossover with the co-stars, but it's a hamlet, not a village. So bear in mind there will be some crossover.
Probably.
But all of our people are so multi-talented.
Absolutely.
So
And
that,
I want to
you know,
show that
yeah.
cavalcade of wonderful Lilydale folks that we have here.
It's true, yeah, because by
Make
the
it all
time
happen.
most people come to Lilydale, they're on their second or third incarnation in this body, in their current body.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, you may know Joe as the gardener who lives down the street, who's retired, but he also was a professional football player and I'm making this person up, by the way.
Yes,
And a CPA, and then worked in commercial fishing. You don't know.
Yeah. They come from all walks of life.
Yes.
And I know when I was going to school, and trying to choose what career I was going to have, medium was not on the list of career options to choose from.
Not even remotely.
And it's something that evolved over time, and it's something I'm really grateful to have come to while I'm young, because most people are having to wait until they're retired from their previous careers and lives and raising of children, and then they can really focus on their spiritual growth and spiritual path. And so I'm really grateful that I'm doing this now, that I have a supportive husband and family, and it helps make that possible for me.
Yeah, I think it is impossible without a really good support system all the way around.
True.
Because we deal with the highest highs and the lowest lows for people.
Absolutely.
And just the idea of trying to take a natural gift that is part of your spirituality and translate that into what you put on a business card.
Yeah.
That in itself is an interesting journey.
It
you
is.
know?
It is. When I first started coming here, and I was also doing college at the same time, I really loved what was happening when I sat in circles and workshops and felt that connection with spirit, and I craved it, and I just kept reading more. I don't know how I fit that into my college schedule and all the papers I had to write, and being an English major, it was constant research and all of that's involved with it. So I don't know how I fit it all together, but I'm grateful that I did, and my parents helped make it possible. Yeah. And I know you came to Lilydale when you were 21.
21, and I was in college. I was an undergrad, and I was working for. I was doing an internship for a nonprofit, and we were headed to a fundraiser in Toronto, and the lady who headed the nonprofit. We had a lot of adventures, in a very good way, very good adventures. But one of them was stopping off here in Lilydale because she had friends here, and
it just took hold.
Yeah.
For you, and your mother was on that journey then too, right?
No, she actually came here about a month before I did. When I was on another adventure with that same nonprofit, she came up here with her spiritual development circle.
Oh my goodness!
They all decided
so field
to come
trip,
up for
right?
It was a field trip. It was a girls' weekend sort of thing, and they were, like, let's all go up to Lilydale, and because this is spiritualist Mecca.
Yes, it is.
This is the largest center for spiritualism in the world.
Absolutely.
And we're darn proud of it.
Sure we are. It gets touted quite a lot.
Yes. It might be on the sign when you come in the gates.
Yes,
yeah.
You
could say that.
I should mention real quickly that as far as taking part in the radio show, you can call in, and the number is 818-739-8818. You can listen audio only if you tune in online to blogtalkradio.com/Lilydale Radio, and you find Wednesdays with Willa. You can listen to us that way. Or I try to do this on Facebook Live through my Facebook page, which is Willa White Medium, or you can find me on willawhite.com, and I'll throw another website at you, CelesteElliott.com. If you
2 L's and 2 T's. Yes.
That's how you spell it. Yep. And so those are ways to connect with us. And you're welcome to call in if you have questions about what it's like to be a professional medium while being young. Because it's definitely an adventure.
Yes, it is.
Because,
in a good way, but yes.
We go to, let's say, dinner parties or events with friends, and we'll meet people. Yeah. And I've had this happen. They confuse psychic with medium.
Yes.
And they want a reading on the spot. And I don't do that. Yeah. I don't. And I have time off, just as in any profession, but also because it's a sacred thing, and we want to make sure that the person receiving the message is also in the right place to receive it. Have you had this happen to you?
Constantly.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty common. I think part of it, and is what we're picking up on culturally too. Yeah. In that, it's. Like shows like the Long Island Medium, and she's a very good medium, but I wouldn't run errands with her.
Oh goodness,
because I'd never get anything done. And I have a hard enough time just making it down to our post office without
getting captured by the natives. Yeah, that's what I call it.
Because you run into your neighbors and you're genuinely glad to see them, and then you want to stop and chat, and it's a 5-minute walk without human traffic and a 45-minute trek with human traffic, because you stop and talk to everybody, and they have questions, and when are we going to get together, and what's the latest scoop on such and such, and were you at church last Sunday, and it's just all of the stuff. So
it's a pretty constant level of things. And
absolutely.
I do see we have a caller, so I want to go ahead and take our first caller.
Yeah.
For the day. So it's last 4 numbers are 8659. Again, 8659. Hello.
Hello. How are you? you?
Doing well. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Pam, and I'm from South Carolina.
Oh, thanks for calling in, Pam. What did you want to ask about regarding young mediums?
Well, I just really didn't know what kind of questions. This is the first time I listened.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know if you were doing mini readings.
Oh, no, we're not doing readings today, but we're
Okay.
talking about what it's like to be young mediums. Because most people here in Lilydale are probably, 55 and up, I would say.
Yeah, second career.
Second
sort of
career,
what they
usually.
retired into, yeah.
So.
Well, it's very interesting. That's one place I've always loved to. I want to visit someday, Lilydale.
Oh, you'll have to make plans. I know they're getting the summer 2018 schedule together, and they should have it out soon, so you can take a look at it and make plans to come up. Because that's the hot time to come.
Yeah.
Not just the summer, but the idea of all the events.
I've read a lot about it.
Oh, good.
It's very interesting, mediums, and I do. I've talked to a few in my life, not many.
Wonderful.
But I do have a lot of people on the other side, and I just thought I'd call. Today was my birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
You're...
But it's a nice thing to do for people.
Yes, it
That's all I can
is.
say.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you, and
Well,
we'll be sending you birthday blessings.
Yes, many birthday blessings.
Pardon me?
Well, thank you for calling in, and we wish you all the best for your birthday. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. That's sweet. It's Pam's birthday. Happy
Yay.
birthday, Pam!
Very cool. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I've noticed with being young is that sometimes people will come into my reading room. They'll meet me on my porch, and they'll come in the reading room, and they're like, "You're so young. I didn't expect you to be this young."
We both have unusual names.
Yes.
And we both have names that are sometimes associated with the older generation.
Yes, I have an old-fashioned name, and so do you.
I have a name that the older generations would associate with Babar the elephant, which is a good thing.
We read that.
You know,
we read
that's
Babar.
good, and pass it along, because I love for people to know how to spell my name too, because that's a bonus for me. But yeah, I've had people that are surprised by my age. And I was teaching a class a couple years ago here in Lilydale, and I had the students came up to me, and like a little coalition, and I was like, oh God, what did I forget to tell them, or what are they gonna? Yeah, I was a little nervous, and they were like, we just want to know, how old are you? And I was like, well, at that time I was like 34, and they were like, oh, well, we couldn't tell, and I was like, okay. And some people thought I was in my 20s, and some people thought I was in my 40s, because they say with Lilydale Medium, you don't know how old we are. And I say it's the meditation.
Quite possibly.
I think it keeps our brains young, and I think it keeps our cells young. You know, well,
That's part of it.
They have studies on that meditation regrows gray matter.
Yeah,
So there
makes
you
sense
go.
to me.
Yeah.
But it's so funny to have
even if
run
it's
into
not
that.
true, I'm claiming it, and,
Yes.
and that's what I expect from the universe. It's what I'm manifesting, so it's all good.
I joke that so when I'm 60, I'm gonna look probably 40 or something. You know, like I'm gonna look younger. So that it's all to the good.
It
all to the
wouldn't
benefit.
surprise me. And as a bonus, we have total control over the lighting in our reading rooms. So
Dim lighting. By
Yes.
candlelight, everyone looks beautiful.
or tiny soft boxes hanging from the ceiling. It looks like
You're
whatever.
making plans.
It's all good.
No, but they expect me to have a bun or something like that in my hair, and it's just fun to kind of shock them, and they'll say, "How long have you been doing this?"
Yes,
and that
that's
kind of
another thing.
dubious voice, and it's
Is
so
this
funny.
your first reading,
And it's
or
like, well, I've been registered for about 15 years now, so and they're just shocked. It's because we for a long time I was the youngest.
That's right.
Until you and Brecht came on board.
Yeah.
And I would say I'm the youngest, but not the newest.
Yeah. Same, actually, at this moment.
Yeah. Right now, you're the youngest.
Yeah, and only by, I think, a hair.
Yeah.
Because I think Brecht might be like a year older than me or something.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it's very much.
No.
So.
But it's great. I'm so glad that people are coming on board. Now, I think we should talk about the fact that we both come from mother-daughter duos.
Yes.
Our mothers are also registered mediums.
Yes.
And little factoid for you, both of us became registered before our mothers.
Yes.
Although our mothers helped our journey and were very instrumental. Tell us a little bit about that part for you.
Well, I grew up in a household where having mediumistic or intuitive experiences was not touted, but accepted. So it was one of these things where my mom understood, because of the way that she's hardwired, that you can have intuitive experiences and know things ahead of time, or feel somebody around, or see somebody around, and she never was a stage parent, and I think that was the best thing that could have. I was listened to. I was. She knew I was telling the truth, that I wasn't. And as a bonus, I always got to pick the restaurant. Because I was really good at that. I was really good at picking the restaurant, because they would bring up like a list, and I would be like, oh, well, let's go to such and such place, or let's go to such and such place. And if I chimed in and said, no, you don't want to go to this place because you're going to run into somebody you don't want to see, or you're not going to like their food, or whatever, they believed me, because it always happened.
See?
Always kept
consistency.
Yeah. Where there's a running joke even today. The one thing that they don't ask me to do is like find their keys, because my family, me and my dad, we suck at keys. We just do. Because when we're busy and we're distracted, it's like, so everything goes. So we've curbed that by having routine. Well,
they probably have a GPS thing, key fob you can put on that.
Yes, but I do not have psychic GPS. And that is the difference.
That's the difference.
So, and I'm bringing this story up because, one, I think it's funny, and two, because when people come up to me randomly at a party and they're like, hey, I lost my favorite sweater 6 months ago, and I'm like, I barely know where my stuff is, so... and I'm actually very organized. I don't mean to come off as though I'm like a total slob, because I'm not. But, I'm really not. I can't do that for you, because, if it comes up naturally in a reading, that's
totally different.
That's a totally different situation.
Occurring.
Yeah. Because then I'm supposed to know it. And I'm supposed to pass it.
I think it's about the left brain, because if somebody asks you a question like that, it takes you into your left brain of thinking, and it's so hard then to get it back out and be in that intuitive side. If it comes through spontaneously, and to me it's much more valuable. That's one of the reasons why when I do public demonstration work, I don't get anything in advance. It's just fountaining up out of me when that's occurring.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I was training, I would try to do that. I would try to have a message in my back pocket.
Oh,
and
protection.
It was like training wheels.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point in my development where Spirit said, you don't need the training wheels anymore. Here, let's show you. Yeah. So every time I would try to get a message ahead of time, inevitably, that person would get up and leave, or I couldn't find them in the crowd.
And what are you going to do then?
Yeah. So then I had to stand up there and be like, all right, now I got to find somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
You really just have to fall back on that safety net of Spirit.
Totally. And that's the thing. It's about learning to trust not only your relationship with Spirit. So I always trust Spirit, but I don't always trust myself.
Right.
You know? And I think that's very
Well, there's that ego voice that tells you you're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
They're not going to like what you have to say.
Exactly. And so you have to divorce yourself from that outcome.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do as a human.
As a sensitive.
Yes.
As a sensitive who is so...
Yes.
If you're a sensitive, usually you're a people pleaser. Because you don't want to feel the bombardment of someone's disappointment or anger or frustration with you.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something that I know I battled with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's about learning to set your boundaries.
Absolutely. Much better about that these days.
Yeah. And part of my education here was going for readings and seeing how people work and talking to them. And so part of how I finally identified and learned that actually was sitting in the reading room of another mother-daughter duo.
Oh.
Shirley Calkin Smith, who is now in spirit, and Stephanie Churchak, her daughter.
Yes.
And I learned a tremendous amount from them. And then... and watching you and your mom and being in that same situation.
Yeah.
So that was, that's a growth experience. And that's something that, it's like I needed permission to not have to worry about, hang on to that outcome.
True.
So that's something that I talk about a lot with people when they come to me. It's like,
yeah.
Because you and I'm sure, have both had experiences where you go to somebody and you can give them so much fact and so much detail and so much...
lots of evidence.
And they can't place someone. And then they'll call you or they'll email you or they'll come to you later and be like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I totally forgot about this person. I lovingly refer to that as relative amnesia, even when it's not a regular relative. And I've done it myself. Mm-hmm. So...
because you're not thinking along those tracks, along those lines. And I think that even shows more proof then.
Yeah.
And somebody has having a little cognitive dissonance moment there, and then they're like, "Oh, yes, this is the truth."
Yeah, because or they were focused on one person in particular that they so wanted to hear from, and they will block everybody
like martial
else
arts people.
Out. Yes, yeah. So,
it's just
it is what it is, and you have to just kind of learn to keep your focus and your link and still go on.
Absolutely.
And that's something that comes... It's an unusual situation for medium to be in Lilydale and to function the way that we do. Mm-hmm. Because we have all of this community support.
Yes.
And we work probably more than other mediums. Mm-hmm. And we... have a grounding and a basis in the philosophy of spiritualism, because not all mediums are spiritualists.
This is true.
It's not, you can't replace one word for the other.
Right.
Which that's my sly way of putting that out there on the airways. And I wink a lot. It's not something in my eye. But, and also, most mediums do not do public demonstrations and private readings on the same day.
This is true. They don't have to. We do.
We also do more public demonstrations than other mediums.
True. On a regular basis.
Yeah, and because I think we grew up. I'll say I grew up around Lilydale because I came here at 21. I feel like I grew up here, because it was part of the unfolding process for me in figuring out who I was.
Absolutely.
And being able
finding
to
your
that.
voice as a medium is really important. I remember Patricia Price talking about it in one of her classes. She says at some point you're going to have to confront what it means to be a medium. Yes. And maybe there are people who don't really appreciate what mediums do.
Right.
And you're going to have to get over that fear, that hurdle, so that no matter what anybody's possible negative response would be about that you're strong in who you are and what you believe and what you know, and that you truly feel the calling as a medium. And so that's something that all mediums go through. Yeah. As a young medium, we have a lot to do as far as society and culture. Here I am. I'm on the dating scene. I had to tell people I was a medium.
Yeah.
And
watch them run.
Actually, people girls didn't run. They were very interested. They'd ask questions. The men would just be really, like trying to understand it. Most of them were trying to be open-minded. Yeah. I give my husband so much credit with that because he's vastly supportive of what I do. He doesn't have to understand all the nuances of it.
Right. And
what I like is that I can be a woman with him.
Yes.
And that I get to just be grounded in that experience as a wife and as a mother and have those wonderful experiences. He doesn't have to understand every step of meditation and going to circles together.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that. So he's been wonderful to help me embrace that very human side of myself. Is giving me wonderful balance.
Yeah.
So I appreciate my husband very much in all of that.
I've had both reactions.
Oh, so
I've had both. And up until I was registered here in Lilydale, and even after I was registered here in Lilydale, because you don't just come here and have an automatic, hugely built up, I almost said fan base, but I meant clientele.
I did. I actually was a full-time medium before I was registered here in Lilydale, and I was really grateful for that, but then I knew my next step was to be registered.
I had a part-time clientele. I built up slowly, and I was in a totally other industry, and I was not gaining as much traction as because I wasn't putting the energy into that. I was putting the energy into coming back to Lilydale.
Right.
And coming back to Lilydale, and I was dating someone, and we were I was living in another state in the off season, and we were talking about future and what that would mean. And they came from a different spiritual background, and God bless them, they were so kind and so supportive, and we still chat sometimes, although he's gone his way and I've gone mine. But it was a thing about he just texted me a couple weeks ago to say, how come you didn't tell me you have a blog talk show? And I was like, oops. So now he's outed, but
right.
Because he found out through mutual friends. Not cyber stalking, mutual friends. But I don't have much of a filter. Sorry, guys.
No.
So it was a thing, but when we first started dating, I tell the story about how I had to explain to him because he had never known anybody who was a medium before. But I'm sure that he had, because we're hiding in plain sight.
Well, we don't look like mediums. I'm not very new agey, as you can tell. I mean, I'm just me. I'm kind of like the girl next door.
Yeah, I'm more. People tell me that I'm more corporate looking. That I'm more. I am a very.
I can see that. I
can conservative
totally
dresser.
See that, people?
Yeah, and that's because I worked. That's how I started working in offices when I was 14. So. Yeah, so button-down blouses
when I was in high
khakis
school
are part of my.
I would dress. I'd wear a skirt. I was one of the few girls that would wear a skirt to school. And I looked older. At 16, I looked older, and they would stop 12. Me and think that I was a teacher or a sub for that day.
Right,
and it was so funny.
No, actually, I go here too, but
I don't want to wear any jeans.
Right. Yeah.
To school.
Yeah. No. So I dig that. I get that.
Yeah.
So it's not that, because neither of us is stodgy people. No. I would consider us to be a lot of fun, frankly.
I think we are.
We're not on all the time.
No.
And we do not. Because of that, we do not necessarily get people ahead of time. We don't get every once in a blue moon. I've had somebody's relative show up in advance, and I'll look at them and say, "Okay, hi, see you later.
Yeah,
see you when your person comes."
Yeah,
well,
sometimes their energy does precede them.
Yes,
and I've noticed. Over the years, I've noticed an energetic change that starts to take over in me when they're getting close.
Yes,
and I have to put that at bay again.
Before my first client of the day. I could get all of that information ahead of time. I choose not to.
No.
I set the boundary with that because...
Between the opening prayer and the closing prayer.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they're allowed to come in.
Exactly. And so I had to explain to people I was dating that it's not like paperwork. You don't take them home with you.
That's right.
You know, because they, you know, it was not having any exposure to mediumship or spiritualism or anything like that. His concern was, well, what does that mean for your home life? Is it like the show Medium where you're going to wake up screaming in the middle of the night all the time?
Oh, goodness, no.
No. Actually, I'm a very polite sleeper. I stay in one spot. and that's, you know, so that's why I rotate the mattress, because otherwise there'd be an indent. But
yes.
Yeah, so you probably didn't need to know. Okay.
TMI.
Right.
But
yeah.
it's just part of the, you know, I think people wonder what it's like to live with someone like us.
Yeah.
And we're not having to deal with apparitions coming into the house constantly. No. You know, I've got children. I'm a mom, so I'm doing mom things. I'm doing the dishes and the laundry. And
I am
reading books and
yes, I'm a little
Play-Doh
bad
time.
with knowing when my phone is going to ring ahead of time.
That has happened to me before.
You know, or like I get kind of itchy about it. Like
inklings.
I feel an email or a phone call is coming in. Like I'm reaching for it subconsciously in my purse.
And there it is.
You know, like while I'm chatting over burritos, and it's
like. But I would never walk up. Let's say I'm with my family, or you're with your mom and you're shopping. Right. You're not going to walk up to a stranger and say,
"Oh God, no.
Your mother's here, and she wants you to know there's a sale in aisle 3. Don't miss it." You know, you know, it's not going to be that way.
No, that would be ridiculous.
Yes.
And frankly, there are not enough hours in the day.
And the ethics of this.
Yes.
You know, it's very much against my ethics to invade someone's space. If you've come to me for a reading, or if you're there at the public message services, you know that you're probably you have the potential of receiving a message from Spirit.
Yes.
In a reading, you're asking me to.
And that is exactly why I wanted to be a medium in Lilydale, because in this day and age, you can practice anywhere. I feel like we've opened up more to the world in the last few years, which I think is a good thing. We want to share Lilydale with you all year round, and give you a real sense of what it's like for us. But at the same time, part of why I was registered here because I felt like I wasn't bothering anybody. I wasn't, you know, like, I am not somebody who was good at networking for mediumship, where I would walk up to, you know, like, I'd be someplace and I wasn't carrying my business cards to my yoga class.
No,
sort of thing, you know what I mean? Or when I was working in other industries, I wasn't putting that in anybody's face.
Right.
When I came here and I was building up my clientele, and you know, because I part of it was I was a transplant to this area, so I came here only knowing Lilydale people.
Right.
And when I committed and was able to move here full time and have my house, and what an incredible blessing that's been, you know. Yes. I was working retail. And I have no regrets because that was good health insurance.
Well, you know, sometimes people will want to break into mediumship as a full-time career, and they need to have the grounding of another job, not just financially, but I feel for them to have
development
balance between the left and right brain. You know, like let's say bookkeeping. And that now you can do spirit, and you know, so it's very good to utilize both.
Yeah,
because otherwise people may go woo woo.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying.
True story. And with all of the energy in Lilydale, I also make sure that I get off the island.
Yes,
I'm borrowing phrasing here, but it is an island.
It is.
People don't realize that, but it is. But I make sure I get off the island for a few hours at least once a week.
Yeah. It's important to do that because there's a lot of energy going on here and a lot of demand upon us as mediums.
Yeah.
And we need to just go and be and not be in demand at that time. And I find myself heading to water
Absolutely.
Like Lake Erie, I'm so grateful. We have Cassadaga Lake, we've got Chautauqua Lake, we've got Lake Erie, we've got water sources. Those really seem to replenish me. Water and sky, my favorite things.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you. Yeah. I like field trips. I like to run away.
Yes.
And I will tell people if they are in season, if they want to find a medium on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, book ahead of time.
Because those are our days off usually, folks.
Yeah. During season, we either take
That's our
a
weekends.
Tuesday or a Wednesday, and that is our weekend. Most of us don't get to take 2 days, but I'll take 1 day. Sometimes I'll take a day and a half because I'll take a Monday
different
morning.
portions of
and that's when you get your errands done. That's when you clean your house, and that's
normal human. We are normal human people.
If I could employ an army of elves to clean my house, I would be all
lovely.
Over that. But this isn't Disney.
No, not Disney. We still have to chop wood, carry water, no matter what.
Yes.
I wanted
enlightenment.
I wanted to talk real quickly about that early exposure. Like as a child, I was very, very sensitive to emotions. I would tell my mom if I didn't like certain people, and then they find out later that those people really weren't that good.
Yep.
And I had spirit contact when I was a little girl too. Yeah. But it wasn't something that my parents ever forced.
Exactly.
They weren't interrogating me. They weren't trying to make me jump through hoops. Like you said, they weren't trying to be the stage parents.
Yeah. They'd listen,
with any of this.
They'd accept, and we'd move on.
Yes, it was fostered and not forced.
Exactly.
And it wasn't until we came of age that we had the option of exploring that in an adult way. So when people come to me with their children that are really intuitive, I tend to have them put that off, just because there's so many things that children are having to just experience, handling socially and handling how our culture runs.
Yes.
And so. And then hormonally as a teenager, kind of getting through
hormones,
those
and I do talk to young people about that a lot. Hormones play a big role in this.
Yeah.
And it's, at different times in your life, you are going to develop by miles rather than inches because of that.
Yes.
But I don't suggest anybody going into, there is a counseling aspect to mediumship.
Yes.
And, until your brain is fully developed and you know who you are, at least in part, because there's always an
constantly
unfolding
evolving
process.
Sure,
right, exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
But until you sort of have a grounding in who you are and a support system, I don't necessarily suggest people rushing out and making this their career at 16.
Right. So in that sense, going back to what I said before, it wasn't on the list of career options when you're talking to your guidance counselor in high school.
I would have called somebody a dirty, dirty liar if they told me this is what I was going to do. Because I didn't want the rejection.
And they test and they do those, the 4... whatever that is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. But they do that, and I'm sure it might show up if they added medium to the list. But I don't think that it's necessarily...
Career aptitude.
career aptitude test. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So while I love the fact that I'm a young medium, and I'd love to have more young mediums like Celeste and Brecht and all those folks come on board.
We were all fully cooked when we came on board, and that makes a difference. Yeah. And actually, I just found out that you cannot be registered here before you're 21.
Brilliant. That solves a lot of things.
That does. And it's not meant to be an offensive thing. It's meant to be it is, as a sense of community, that is how we are protecting and nurturing our young ones.
Yes.
We do have a children's week here, and it is a wonderful program.
Yes.
It is non-exploitive.
Yes.
And that's the key. There is, so they have a sense of community amongst themselves. It's not just sit in a room and try really hard and meditate and, make the funny faces. It's like, it's games and it's karaoke and it's community and it's pizza parties and it's talent shows and it's, things.
It's kid friendly on that level.
Totally,
yes.
totally. And it, what it was? I was talking with Kara Seekings on my show, and she said she came to Lilydale not to develop, but to get a handle on things. And I'm the exact same way. That's what Lilydale did for me.
It helped you get control of it.
Yeah. So it wasn't just happening when it wanted to happen.
True. Well, I set that up
when
early.
you develop natural mediumship.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Because I am a people pleaser.
Well, I always tell people when they come, I say, I've had professional psychics and mediums come to me for readings.
Same.
And we talk about how to shut it off because they are what I call leaky faucets.
I like
they
that.
Have it on, leaky. And then they wonder why they're drained energetically. And oh my goodness, and they're just getting woo-woo, right?
Yeah.
And so we talk about, you're going to put up, figuratively or literally if necessary, a do not disturb sign similar to a hotel motel room. Yeah. And so that you're not bothered at night and you're not bothered outside of doing meditation or doing readings. You have to have those healthy boundaries so that you're not inundated by other people's energy. It's really important because then you can be concentrated in your readings and in your message work 100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's just, you when you decide to take a yoga class, you're not going to also be doing mediumship. No, not a good idea.
When you're drinking the tea, drink the tea.
Yeah,
when you're washing
mindful.
the dishes, wash the dishes.
Of those things.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
that's, that I think no matter what or who you are, that's good advice.
Absolutely. I want to get these things mentioned real quickly because time is flowing by. Every show I say this. I know you guys are probably tired of me saying it, but it's true. And so my next show will be, of course, Wednesday, December 6th at 10 a.m., same channel, same time. My special guest will be Ray Taft, who is a longtime Lilydale resident, and our topic will be Lilydale history. He is well versed in this. He does the Wednesday night
the Ghost Walk,
which is basically a historical tour of Lilydale.
Yeah.
So he's excellent for that. We're going to have a great discussion that next week, so tune in. And then, of course, we have the other radio shows. On Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., we have Colleen Vetterstein doing Embracing Your Essence. Yeah. I have to say it that way. And then Wednesdays with Willa. Then Wednesdays at 8 p.m., we have John White, no relation, who does Journey of Light. And then on Fridays, 10 a.m., we have Celeste Elliott doing Celestial Fridays. That's right. So there are other Lilydale shows to tune into. And we all have something a little different to offer. We have different personalities. That's also how people choose mediums. They resonate with certain folks. And so there are a lot of things to take advantage of with this. And of course, you can be tuning into the fact that Lilydale is getting their program together for 2018. You can look at the LilydaleAssembly.com website for some of the things that are going to be coming up. Yeah. So keep posted about those things. Yeah. And I know we just have a couple minutes left. I wanted to mention real quick, because Emanuel Swedenborg, 17th century Swedish scientist, astronomer, physicist, people loved him. The royalty, he was in with the creme de la creme. But he had his first spiritual experience when he was age 55. And he started having connection with spirit. He wrote about it. He talked about Summerland. He was able to, in a verifiable way, talk to spirit and was able to spread the word about spirit contact being a real deal.
Yeah, not just a matter of faith.
And so, whether you come to this when you're young like Celeste and I do, or if you come to it when you are 55 or older, it's okay. It's how it needed to happen and evolve for you to be comfortable with your abilities. And being a professional medium is not for everyone. I tell people frequently, Harry Edwards, who was a medium in England, he's passed now. Yeah. You know who Harry Edwards is? He said that to be a medium, a professional medium, you must be of even mind. And so you can't be all over the board. I know as sensitives, sometimes emotionally, we have our ups, we have our downs. We're having to deal with a lot of emotions with clients, with those in spirit, the emotions that they feel.
Universal energies
that we may be picking up. So we have to make sure that we're going into a space of spiritual discernment, compassionate detachment, so that we're not just going into the woo-woo land, as I call it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any last words you'd like to share with those folks before we end and close for today?
I don't think so. That went by incredibly fast. And I'm going to think of well, you can come on my show next time and we can do a follow-up because
we can
I know
get
there's
that
going
on
to be
the schedule.
stuff. So
Sure, of course. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. We really appreciate you joining us and viewing, and hope you tune in next week when I have Ray Taft out, and I've got a lot of great lineup. I'm booked all winter with different people who are coming on board. So have a wonderful week, everyone, and we'll see you again. All right. Thanks for tuning in on Facebook, everyone. Lots of love to you, all of you. Keep that holiday season of gratitude going. Bye-bye.
Bye.